On alert and on pause, at least 6 historically black colleges have halted activities after receiving potential threats against their campuses. The lockdown measures come in the wake of yesterday's shooting of Charlie Kirk, though officials have not linked any of those threats to that shooting. Our Alex Brochet joins us now with more. So what are we learning about the threats and the lockdowns and where it's taking place, Alex?
Yeah, Kira. So we're tracking now at least 7 of these HBCUs that have been under lockdown in the past 24 hours following that assassination of Charlie Kirk. That includes Alabama State, Hampton, Virginia State, Southern, Bethune-Cookman, Clark Atlanta, and also Spelman there in Atlanta. Now, some of these universities have already begun the process of lifting these lockdowns or shelter in places. Others have, like Southern, have actually extended those through the weekend. They've canceled classes through the weekend, which at this moment, that is the longest extension of this lockdown. But I can tell you that the FBI has released a statement. I don't know if we have a full screen of it, but it does say that the FBI takes these threats very seriously because it puts innocent people at risk. While we have no information to indicate a credible threat, we will continue to work with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to gather, share, and act upon threat information as it comes to our attention. But I can tell you that we've been in touch with a number of students, including some on the campus of Hampton. Our team has, and you know, as you might imagine, Akira, I mean, this is really shaking a lot of these young students up. There's fear of uncertainty and also possible violence as this is yet another instance of their campuses being threatened.
And I see civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton responding to this as well. Alex, saying political violence or acts of hate get us nowhere. We can march, we can debate, but we cannot cause physical harm to those we disagree with. Alex Brochet, thank you.
Did you see the parade of angry white men chanting, "White man, fight back! White man, fight back"? It's extremely alarming to hear, but I'm more so confused. My brother in Christ, for people that look like us to the outside world, it appears that we run and own everything. So most people are curious, who are you fighting back against? And not only that, if you're talking about Charlie Kirk, if you're talking about most mass and school shooters, they're people that look like us. They're white people. So I'm genuinely confused. When you're out there on the street with your tiki torches and you're yelling, "White man, fight back!" What? Who? Who are you being oppressed by? Ourselves? We need to be fighting ourselves? I'm curious. And not to mention, after the 3rd or 4th time saying, "White men, fight back," don't you just naturally want to get quiet and just be like, oh, maybe white men should be fighting back against our own, against fellow people that look like us. We can stand up for injustices, absolutely, but to think that white men are the ones being oppressed, hard to gain an audience on that.
Hello, my good people, guys. Welcome back again to my channel. And of course, if you're watching for the first time and you haven't subscribed, guys, you don't know what you're missing. Now, I'll request that if you're watching these videos and you enjoy our videos, please just do that one favor, subscribe. Hit that button, let me pause. For you to subscribe, hit that button or the red button below, ring the bell so that anytime we drop a new video, you get a notification that a new video has just been dropped. Now, let me pause for you to subscribe. Now today, I want us to cover some topic here that's very strange. There's something really strange about the United States. When a white man unalives a white man, the black man ends up in danger. And when the black man unalives a white man, the same black man still ends up in danger. And when the white man unalives the black man, nothing happens. So, that's the strange part of America. I want us to talk about the trending topics and the current event where Charlie Kirk was unalived by a fellow white man. And guess who is in danger? Someone like me. And here's why.
Fight back! White man! Fight back! White man! Fight back! White man! Fight back!
It is only in America when a white man kills another white man, and suddenly black students are the ones in danger today in America. Charlie Kirk's death has sparked chaos, and instead of looking at the real cause, some protesters are threatening institutions by singing "White Man Fight Back." White man fight back. Now, the internet is raging and people are asking, how did this twisted logic become normal? How? How comes when a white man unalives a white man, it is still a black man who ends up in questions? Now, great people, I want us to watch some clips here which I've just sampled from TikTok where people are also asking the same question. Why are we blaming a black man for the death of Charlie Kirk? There is nowhere a black man is seen. How comes we are now blaming and targeting the black institutions? So great people, let's dive straight into these videos, come back and have a talk as far as this topic is concerned.
Literally don't understand why black colleges are being targeted for Charlie Kirk if this is who unalived him. Doesn't make sense to me.
First of all, black people ain't had nothing to do with this. We wasn't nowhere near Utah. So I'm like, how was the response to go after black students? And it's interesting because I was talking to one of my best friends who graduated from Grambling. And I was like, is Grambling on lockdown? Because, it was just kind of, in the moment. And it's like we're getting these alerts about this school and that school, Hampton, and all these different schools. So I was like, what is happening? And I was like, and why are we in this, right? What is it that students on a HBCU campus have to do with this, right? That wasn't a place that... let me point this out. We have had school shootings that have taken place on all types of campuses. And there are those, specifically on the right, that always want to put out this idea that black folk are dangerous and criminal, and we just have more of a propensity to commit crimes and things like that. Do you know how many school shootings we've had at a HBCU?
Zero.
One of the safest campus that you can be, a safe haven. And it is interesting because those campuses were created out of kind of this segregation idea, but we don't do that. It's not, in the idea that, as soon as it happened, and the next thing you know, the trans community is under attack again, right? Because they said that the Minnesota shooting was a trans woman, I believe. And so because it was a trans person, they're like, oh, this is what happens. But I was like, so we're not going to talk about white supremacy? We're not going to talk about the fact that the vast majority of these shootings, whether they are seen as political or not, if we look at the numbers, white supremacy ideology. But we don't want to do anything about that. There's no legislation that they want to bring. Every time you say white supremacy, they want to yell, oh, you're race baiting. No, I am going on facts. These crimes, when we look at these mass shootings, most of them are linked to neo-Nazism or, Proud Boys or whatever. It's always some white supremacy kind of thing that's going on. It's not black folk that are going out there. It's not immigrants that are going out there. But what cities are we going into? Black cities, because we are supposedly the ones that commit all the crime. Which people are we going after? Immigrants, because allegedly it's immigrants, but we don't want to have a talk about what the numbers say, what the facts say, which is that we have a white supremacy problem in this country. So until we decide to deal with the problem, we're going to continue to have a problem.
Don't know why. The dude had an American flag on his chest. He's a white tea boomer. Doesn't even look like he's a leftist. Don't even look like he's agrees with any progressive views. Hey man, be safe out there, my people.
The shooter was white, but somehow HBCUs are the ones under attack. Here's what happened. A white man shot and killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The very next day, 5 HBCUs, Virginia State, Hampton, Alabama State, Bethune-Cookman, and Southern University, were hit with violent threats. Campuses went into lockdown. Students' lives disrupted. Let's be clear. The shooter was a white cis man. Yet, before we even had the facts, the climate turned into a war on black and brown communities. That's the pattern. When violence erupts, blame shifts away from the actual perpetrator and lands on us. History tells the same story. After civil rights gains, black activists were painted as the threat. After 9/11, Muslims and Arabs were vilified while white extremists skated by. And now, HBCUs get terrorized over something they had nothing to do with. Why does this matter? because it shows how racism operates in real time. Violence by one white man becomes a pretext to target entire black institutions, and that's not justice, that's scapegoating. And also, radical left is now a synonym for black and brown people. We can't keep letting violence committed by one become an excuse to terrorize millions.
The fact that HBCUs are now the target of threats because of what happened to Charlie Kirk, and I'll reiterate, what happened to Charlie Kirk was horrible. So no one over here is celebrating or rejoicing. However, the fact that HBCUs in particular are being singled out and threatened by supporters of Charlie Kirk and his ideologies and his rhetoric that he spewed, and they align themselves with his thought process, it's just very telling. Very telling. It's interesting because the very same people who are now all of a sudden so empathetic in the case of Charlie Kirk had nothing to say about the shooting that was simultaneously happening at the same time as we were trying to figure out what was going on with Charlie Kirk in Colorado, high school. And it's even more interesting that one of his infamous quotes about not believing empathy is real, the very word empathy, has become such a buzzword around this whole tragedy. Empathy. Empathy. Let me tell you something. You can empathize with the loss of human life without trying to eulogize somebody. You can also yourself empathize without trying to force other people to empathize, especially people who were in those marginalized groups that he spent his life's work attacking, sending hate towards, dangerously spreading misinformation about, finding a way to shame people who are not empathizing with a person who would walk right over their dead body, look down and find a way to blame them for their own demise is wrong. And if you don't believe that that is the kind of person that Charlie Kirk was, just look into his viewpoint on George Floyd. And that's one of many scenarios. He was not a good person. But I can simultaneously also say what was done to him was horrific. The video was horrific. But that doesn't change the fact that he was a horrible person. So stop trying to change his character in the eyes of people he didn't give a fuck about. And let's actually start trying to make some movement on this gun control. Let's get some laws in place. Let's make actual change. If this is a push I needed, let's do it.
How the fuck is white on white crime linked to you wanting to attack HBCUs? It was a goddamn white person that took out Charlie Kirk. What the fuck does that have to do with black people? I don't understand. We getting blamed for everything. It's white on white crime. Go address the white folks in your community that's doing all the evil and effed up stuff. Why there should not be any HBCUs on lockdown? It's your fucking people. Make it make sense. I'm trying to fit. I don't understand how the fuck this come back to us. I'm so confused. How does this come back to black folks when it was a damn white person? And in Utah of all freaking places. Miss me with the nonsense. And y'all are targeting HBCUs? We get blamed for shit that don't got nothing to do with us. You should be addressing your own fucking community, bruh. Make it make sense.
Grand risings, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're in when you see this video. There's a saying in our community that when white America catches a cold, black America catches pneumonia. Can someone explain to me why 5 HBCUs are receiving threats of being bombed due to the unaliving of Charlie Kirk? What does this have to do with us? Like, really? There's no proof that a black person had any involvement in what happened to Charlie Kirk. So why would these white nationalists, because I'm more than sure that's who they are, and these racists, be wanting to do anything to HBCUs or black people, period, based off what happened to Charlie Kirk? See, racism is a sick disease, and it looks for any reason to express its sickness, because this has nothing to do with us. Now, were there some people that are black that's not as empathetic for the unaliving of Charlie Kirk? Yes. But I've also saw videos of white people celebrating the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. I don't hear about any threats to predominantly white universities. So why do they want to do anything to HBCUs or black people in general? This is old. It's sad. It's sickening. It's sickening how racists will use any excuse in the world to justify wronging black people who have done absolutely nothing to them. I mean, truth be told, we are a greater threat to ourselves than we've ever been to white America. So why would anyone in white America want to do any harm to black people? Especially under these circumstances where we have no horse in that race. We have no hand in anything that was done to Charlie Kirk. So, black people, y'all be safe out there and y'all watch yourselves more than ever, because these people are sick. Peace and blessings.
I had to walk out of church today over comments about Charlie Kirk. I'm on the verge of tears sitting in this parking lot because I'm having such a complex with my faith, because I genuinely don't understand how Christians are pushing this man as though hate didn't come out of his mouth and heart on a consistent basis. And I'm genuinely sitting here like, if this is the God that we serve, if this is the reflection of the God we serve, do I want to be a part of it? I'm truly having a conflict with my faith, because the leaders that we're supposed to be following are guiding us in this way to feel empathy and sympathy, and like that this person was this great Christian, and that the message that his wife gave was, it started off with like praising God. And I'm like, did we miss the chapter of hate that he endorsed, encouraged, and pushed? I don't know where to go from here. I don't... To spew hate and hide yourself behind a Bible, to me, is not something I want to be a part of. And it's not the faith I want to be a part of.
Then leave. Do something different, because the word of God preaches something completely different, obviously, than whatever it is that you following or whatever it is that your expectations is. Then leave and go and get into a very liberal church, because, and somebody point me in the right direction. I went down a rabbit hole today, and I'll be doing a reaction video to one of those videos that I went down a rabbit hole of. And it was of Charlie Kirk going through different debates and stuff like that, because I never paid attention to him as much as I am now, obviously. Obviously, I'm familiar with his work, but not to the extent to where I'm really deep diving into a rabbit hole. I can't find the messages of hate that everybody keeps talking about. So if y'all can point me to them, and more importantly, with full context, meaning that you get the whole conversation and why he said it and when he said it, I would very much appreciate it because I don't get it.
White people, don't come looking for black people. Black people did not do that to Charlie Kirk on yesterday. Remember, it was in Utah. It was in Utah. There were threats to 5 HBCUs on today. Don't come looking for black people. Don't come looking for black people. Black people didn't do that. Black people didn't do that, and y'all know black people ain't had nothing to do with that. All I saw at school was a sea of white faces. Don't come over here with that. Don't threaten HBCUs with that. Y'all know darn well that was in Utah. Y'all know black people did not have nothing to do with that. Y'all don't be messing. Don't come over here messing with these HBCUs and these black people. Don't do it.
In the days that have followed Kirk's death, senior Trump officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, have vowed to investigate and dismantle major left-leaning nonprofits because they claim that these groups fund political violence in America, a claim made without a shred of evidence. But who cares about evidence? Let's just be honest about what this is, using Charlie Kirk's murder as a cover for a political purge. The Trump administration is now openly targeting organizations like the Open Society Foundations, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and the Ford Foundation, all of which have long histories of supporting civil rights, democracy, and social justice. And now suddenly, these are the enemies? Wow. By smearing these institutions and tying them very falsely to violence, Trump's team is laying the legal and political groundwork for a full-scale crackdown on dissent, activism, and free speech. This is beyond reckless. This is authoritarian. It should alarm every American, regardless of your political party, if you care about democracy. But wait, it gets worse. So today, J.D. Vance, the vice president, used his official government office to host the Charlie Kirk show. Like, let that just sink in. The same Vance who's been desperately chasing Kirk's audience for years. The same Vance who gets booed at his own public appearances. Yeah, now he's stepping into Kirk's seat, using his death to elevate his own platform and cashing in, of course, on Kirk's following.
Civil society, Charlie understood this well, is not just something that flows from the government. It flows from each and every one of us. It flows from all of us. So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination.
A sitting vice president using a murder and a podcast to boost his own brand and line his pockets. This isn't leadership. This is opportunism in its rawest, most shameless form. They're not mourning Charlie Kirk. They're monetizing him. What we're watching is not justice. It's a power grab wrapped in a podcast. Every alarm bell inside all of us should be going off right now in anticipation for what comes next.
Learn when to shut the fuck up sometimes. It's fucked up what happened to Trey Reed. It's unexplainable. It's inexcusable. And we got to take action. And it happened way too close to this incident going on with Charlie Kirk. I'm not saying the two incidents are related. We don't have evidence on that. We can't rule out the energy being connected in some type of way if it's no more than a copycat crime or people seeing what happened somewhere and wanting to create that same type of sensation somewhere else. DeMar Travion Reed, otherwise known as Trey Reed, was a student from Grenada, Mississippi. On September 15th, around 7:05 a.m., they found him hanging on Delta State's campus. Now, the police are saying there's no foul play suspected. While I respect law enforcement and the job that they have to do to keep us all safe, as an African-American, I can't help but cringe when I hear police officers say things like, we don't think there was any foul play, in response to a black body being found in such a limited amount of time with very little investigation done, interrogations, very little follow-up work done, no autopsy yet. You know, I just need more than that as a black man in the South with a man found hanging from a tree.
I feel like one of my previous videos went over a lot of people's heads. So let me try to break it down a different way with a visual example too. Okay, I said that right now, the time that we are in, it reminds me of the early 1920s, where people are outraged and have very little information, mainly white people, and they were tearing down and killing people. That's just the reality of what it was. Here we are today. People are outraged, have very little information, and they're threatening to go after a certain particular group. The Democrats, the libs. However, though, in one of my videos I said, what does a lib or a Democrat look like? The majority of people who are considered liberals or Democrats are normally black. But this has nothing to do with black people. This is a white on white issue. So I had a lot of responses that said that, hey, we're not going after black people, we're just going after liberals. And I asked, well, how are you going to find them? Right? I mean, are you just going to pull their voting records? You're going to go by appearance and stereotypes, because that's all you have, because you have no information. But here we are, a prime example of what I was saying. 6 historically black colleges have been targeted and threatened. And you're trying to tell me that you're not going after black people? I don't understand the correlation whenever white people are upset. They lose control, they want to try to go and target black people. And as a black man, I'm supposed to be okay with it. And what's really more bothersome about this, the nonchalantness, the carefreeness of a lot of the larger black creators that's dealing with this topic. Every word has an action and a consequence to it. You would have thought you'd learned that about what happened to Charlie. Now, I don't condone death. I really don't. But I also condone knowledge, facts, calm, critical thinking, wisdom, things that are a big lack in this area right now when it comes to people and how emotional they are. I've seen too many videos of people ready to try to green light, go to war, and they don't even know who they're fighting. You're fighting your own people. Get that through your heads.
So I see a lot of black people who are seeming to be confused as to why a lot of these people turned their attention to black Americans and started coming after them after Charlie Kirk's death. This blame game thing. Now, let me first off start by saying this. You see, because a lot of people, they want to just automatically relegate you to being some sort of part of a political party to give themselves an excuse to dismiss what it is that you're saying. I am not a liberal. First of all, I think that there's a lot of insanity with a lot of this liberal nonsense. But so before you try to dismiss what it is I'm saying, I'm going to explain to you why this happens to black people. There is a sentiment in America called the one big Negro sentiment. This is why whenever issues take place, no matter where the black person is, they will bring that up. You could be down there in Miami, Florida, and then someone, let's say that you're mentioning some sort of injustice happening in Florida. They'll say, well, what about black on black crime in Chicago? What the hell does that have to do with what's going on right here in Florida? I'm not in Chicago. Why are you trying to deflect? Because there are those who look at black people as a monolith, the one big Negro theory. Okay? So when you have situations like this Charlie Kirk situation, there were black people who were posting videos showing that they didn't care. And there were even some people who were mocking Charlie Kirk. So if there are people who have the theory or this view of black people in America as one big Negro, well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get people who can't get to you, but they'll just start attacking the next person who looks like you, because you're looked at as all the same thing. This is why that is. It's the idea of you grin, you in. This was a sentiment back in the day when people would be playing the dozens. If you stand on the sideline and you start laughing, at whatever that person says. Somebody could be ribbing the person next to them. Yeah, with your old big head. Look at you. Boy, your mama so blah, blah, blah. And you ain't even in the conversation, but yet you catch wind of it and you start laughing. Oh, you grin, you in. That means that now you are fair game to not turn on you and start laughing at you or making fun of you. See? That's why they would say, look, if you don't want nobody talking about you, just don't say anything. Just sit on the sideline and just be like, all right. Or just go into your own closet and laugh to yourself. You see? But this is what that is. A lot of black people are looked at in America as having to answer for everything that a black person does. You see? And that's why there are those who turn their attention to the entirety of black people and spew their, place this spirit of vengeance that they have. That's why they do it. You grin, you in.
So tell me this. What do historically black colleges and university students have to do with the Charlie Kirk unaliving? What do students at historically black colleges and universities have to do with the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, who was unalived at an all-white event, predominantly white event, I should say. Let's delve deeper into that. Again, a couple of days after, or a day or so after, 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was unalived, black colleges were all received threats, death threats. Why? Had nothing to do. I'll tell you why. Racism and white supremacy. That's why. We're still living with this, folks. We're still living with this. This stuff is real. How can we ever overcome this? How can we ever overcome this? They talk about, we want to come together. All this division is causing, this division in this country is causing these type of unalive events like this. He want to try to pull in colleges, historically black colleges at that. Somebody tell me, what's the purpose?
Now, following the reported death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, tensions have exploded in the United States. Online chatter shows some white protesters threatening so-called revenge, not against people responsible or person responsible, because we know the person responsible, but against the black man, the black students, or the black institutions. How comes a white man's incident, a white man incident, gets a black man target or makes him a target? Commentators are now pointing the hypocrisy. When a white man kills another white man, black Americans becomes the target. But when a white man unalives a black man, there is no mass outrage, no wave of protection for black lives. This double standard has people furious and confused, asking why are black communities always forced to carry the weight of violence they didn't commit? Why are we blaming a black man for each and every wrong incident that happens in the United States? Don't black Americans deserve peace of mind? Don't they deserve protection just like other people? That's the question that we ask. This moment is exposing a deeper pattern in American society. The way fear and blame are often redirected towards the black people, regardless of the facts tabled It's a reminder of how racial scapegoating has long been used to excuse or deflect responsibility, and shows how fragile society can feel for black students and their institutions. Even institutions that have nothing to do with them, they must be dragged inside. So, my question still is, why does America keep defaulting to putting black lives at risk each and every time, even when the violence doesn't involve them? Why do we have to drag the black man in something that they are not directly involved? Please drop your thoughts in the comment section, because this isn't just about one incident in America. It's about the story, the history that America keeps repeating each and every time in this 21st century, in the year 2025. We still see something that we ought to have been reading in books. We see it happening right in our face. A black man being dragged into a story that he is not directly involved. Guys, why do you think that's happening? Please talk to me in the comment section, and of course, if you love our videos, you love our topics, please subscribe. Thanks so much, guys, and may God bless you. Please hit that button to subscribe, leave us a comment, and share this video to as many people as possible. And guys, thank you so much.